Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to do a few short videos on the power of touch, and I will begin with my favorite quote about touch, which is "The hands can solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain." That's Dr. Carl Jung, and I'm going to talk about uh, why touch is like essential for our well-being. Um, so it's where obviously we can communicate that way. We can also transmit our innermost feelings that we cannot communicate any other way with words. Um, and it really increases our sense of connection, right, with other human beings, and really can heal our innermost wounds. Also, touch can be very instrumental in healing. The wounds of trauma, when applied in the right kind of way. Um, so, in other words, what I'm really doing is drawing from my many years as an intimacy behavioral therapist to talk to you about this, because this is the area in which I work with the healing power of touch, every day. And so I'm going to explore it from that point of view, as also look a little bit into why it's discouraged. Touch in general is not really something we are comfortable using in our day-to-day expression of ourselves, and it's can also be repressed, and ignored. So when ignoring the power of touch has consequences, negative effects that can really can have negative effects on our ability to really create and sustain meaningful relationships with first our bodies, our own bodies, and then those of with others. So further, I'm going to also delve a little into some guided touch exercises. That will be further down the line, probably after these first three videos. I'm going to think about that because I've really gone into them quite a bit in my other earlier videos. But that said, they are really important for conscious sensory awareness, right? They really guide us towards that, and an actual perception, as touch is happening, what we're actually feeling. So, and then I'll also explore in probably later videos as well what I've witnessed in terms of like really profound, internal shifts in the lives of my patients, as they engage, right, in this exploratory kind of safe, nurturing, curious based kind of touch. So let's get to the basics, right? Why is touch essential? Well, so we're fundamentally human creatures, of course, social creatures, right? Um, so we're meant to be physically interactive with one another, right? So babies, we're part of the animal kingdom, of course, as well. But babies or any kind of young mammal left untouched, even when it's somehow still getting to be fed. For if we're left for long periods, we will wither, and that is just a fact. And the same is, as I said, it's true in the animal kingdom. Our sense of touch is right, like the first of the five, right, that we experience when we move through the birth process and into the world. And as we grow, we establish and maintain this sort of sensory awareness of what's happening within our bodies. It's a starting point really for an overall kind of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. So as kids, we learn to engage in play, kind of as a right natural expression of our curiosity and self-expression. We use the sense of touch to navigate and introduce ourselves, right, to our surroundings and other people. As toddlers, it's usually our family, right, that has the most influence on what we're exposed to and where we begin to learn what is considered safe touch, versus what's discouraged, as bad or wrong. Of course, we need to know what is appropriate touching. That's obvious. What is not. But the reality is that from early on, most people are conditioned to believe, you know, acceptable, like that you have to be acceptable in order to be civilized, if you will. In other words, it can become uh, it's like our own shame or concerns or worry about touch is what we can kind of convey that to our kids, and we can kind of shape them into, without kind of warm embracing. I see with a lot of patients or hear from them, many grow up without really much demonstrable um, touch in their families, in their family unit, or demonstrated touch, really, really, cuddling, kissing, touching, and just being warm and safe with it. So many are like remain really unaware of then as they grow how they're being influenced by fear when it comes to trying to touch. So most religious tenets across the board, right, are restrictive and fearful of the freedom of physical expression. Again, I'm not speaking about criminal physical behavior, of course, but once we've digested the message, in our subconscious that seeking physical pleasure is bad, combined with the fact that sex education is virtually either non-existent or ineffective, at least or at best, we begin to cut off from our feeling in our bodies and therefore our sensory awareness. So you can see how I moved from talking about sort of the natural, curious exploration of touch as little kids, and then how we grow, and it naturally, of course, becomes then is informed as we begin to go through puberty and we start to have sexual attraction and start to explore all of that, our sexuality. Yeah, so I think that it's something that most people in our culture do not have such a wonderful experience, or any experience at all, with what is can be really safe, nurturing, healing touch. So thank you very much. Stay tuned for another one.